Hello everyone and welcome to your lesson of mathematics. So this channel of mine is primarily about physics and mathematics. And I'm starting with the videos of A-level mathematics and OA-level physics as well. And then also I'm planning to stretch it to the videos of ECAT, mathematics and physics in the form of crash course. Now as the exams are around the corner, so I'll be starting off with a pattern of crash course, and I'll be making videos mostly about solving past papers, solving topical worksheets and stuff. And as the new term begins, I'll be making videos about each and every topic in detail as well. But right now, I'll be trying to cover all the topics in the form of crash course by solving the topical past paper questions. Now, one of the video series is a Fado Mathematics Pure 3. I'm starting with Pure 3 just because it has the highest weighted and percentage in terms of your grade. And the first one, I'm starting with Algebra with the topic of polynomial division. Alright, so one of the questions that you get like probably every year from the algebra, it's about finding the finding the quotient and remainder of a division, polynomial division. What does that question look like? I'll paste it over here on the screen. Alright, so like this is what the question would look like. And generally you get a question of 3 marks. Sometimes you get a question of 5 marks as well, which is a variation of the same concept. So I'll be trying to solve both of them. First a simple style question and then the variation that we get in that question. So let's start with it. So it reads, find the quotient and remainder when you have a polynomial. This thing is divided by x squared plus 3. Alright, so let's start with it. So I'm going to write this thing, the polynomial. Over here, 2x squared minus x squared plus 6x plus 3. And you're dividing this thing by x squared plus 3. Alright, now I hope everyone understands that the thing that you're dividing with is written on the outside, and the thing that is being divided is written on the inside. Now, what is the first step? Well, the first step is to consider the very first term of the polynomial on the inside, and you also consider the very first term, the polynomial on the outside. Now you think about it. What thing do I multiply x squared with so I get 2x squared? That is the starting step. So you have to look for the polynomial that you multiply x squared with so that you can get 2x raised to the power 3, 2x cubed. Now, well, I know that it is 2x. So basically, if I multiply 2x with x squared, then I get 2x cubed. This is the first thing that you need to start with. You have to come up with this thing over here. Now, if you struggle with it, if you're not like mentally advanced enough in terms of this concept, there's a manual way for it as well. You take 2x cubed, place it in the numerator, and divide it by x squared. So you simply take first thing from here, put it in the numerator, take first thing from here, put it in the denominator, do some cancellation, and like two powers will be cancelled out and you will be left with 2x. So you can safely start with 2x. This was the first step. Now you multiply this thing with everything on the outside, with all the terms. So first you multiply 2x with x squared, you get 2x cubed. Then you multiply 2x with 3, which you get as plus 6x. Alright, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to write the terms with the same degree in front of each other. I mean, I could have written 6x over here as well, but then I'm just trying to write the terms with the same degree in front of each other. So I'll be writing plus 6 over here, 6x. Then I draw a line. In the next step, I change the sign because we have to subtract just like the ordinary division. And you can cancel this one straight away. Same things with the opposite signs would be cancelled out. Same things with the opposite signs will be cancelled out. You'll be left with minus x squared plus 3. Alright, so this is what you have right now. Minus x squared plus 3. Now once again, we got to do the same thing. So now we have this thing minus x squared. And the very first term on the outside is x squared. So what number or what polynomial do I multiply x squared with so I can get this thing? Now here, I mean, it is very much clear that it is minus 1. So basically, if you multiply x squared with minus 1, you get minus x squared. Now once again, if you struggle with it, so you can use the same method. Write the first thing in the numerator of the fraction and write the very first thing from the outside in the denominator. Then you can simplify it. These two things will be cancelled out and you will be left with negative 1. Alright everyone, so here's the third variation that you can get from this topic, polynomial division question. So the question reads the polynomial 6 x cubed plus ax squared plus bx minus 2, where a and b are constants, is denoted by px. Okay, they have given the name of this polynomial as px. It is given that 2x plus 1 is a factor of px. Okay, and that when px is divided by x plus 2, the remainder is minus 24. Find the values of a and b. Alright, so Also, this is a question. If you open up Pure 3 paper of 2021, May, June, you get a question, pretty same question, okay, the third variation. And if you get a question like that, it would be of 5 marks. And these are, to be honest, these are 85 marks if you understand the method behind it. Now, if I explain the question, it means this polynomial ax squared plus bx minus 2, alright, denoted by px, okay? For this polynomial, we have a factor which is 2x plus 1. Now, what does that mean? If I say there's a thing as, let's say, call it 200, and a factor of 200 is 5. What does that mean? That means if you divide 200 by 5, you don't get anything as a remainder, or the remainder is 0. Because if it is a factor, it can completely divide the polynomial. So in this context, this thing 2x plus 1 would completely divide this thing, the whole polynomial. And the other information that we have is, for the same polynomial, 6x cubed plus ax squared plus bx minus 2, it can be divided by x plus 2, but then you get remainder negative 24, right? So the thing x plus 2 cannot completely divide your polynomial because you get something as a remainder. So you can't say right now that x plus 2 is a factor of the polynomial because it's not able to completely divide the polynomial. So the remainder in that case is negative 24. So let's try to use the information. Let's start with the second information. It can be done. The question can be solved in different ways. I'll try to explain the method that I personally find the most convenient one. So I'm going to start off with the second piece of information, the polynomial 6 x cubed plus ax squared plus bx minus 2 can be divided by x plus 2. So you write x plus 2 on the outside. And once you'll be able to completely divide it, you'll get an expression in terms of a and b as a remainder. But then we would know from the information given in the question that that remainder should be equal to 24. So we can put that remainder equal to 24 to get an equation in terms of a and b. So what I'm trying to say is, let's do it step by step. Now you should know what the first step is. What number do I multiply, or what polynomial do I multiply x with so that I get 6x raised to power 3, 6x cubed? For some of you, again, it's very obvious that it is 6x squared. But once again, if you struggle with it, what you can do is simply write the first thing in the numerator of the fraction, and the second one, and the first thing from the outside, this thing as the numerator, and this thing as the denominator. Then you try to simplify this one, you get 6x squared. Okay, so in any case, you'll get the same polynomial, same term, Now you know the next step. You need to multiply 6x squared by everything on the outside. So you multiply it by x, and then you multiply it by 2. So let's do it step by step. First I'm going to multiply it by x, get x raised to power 3 with a coefficient 6. Now I multiply this thing by 2, I get 12 x squared. Then you know in the next step you can draw a line over here, and then you can change the signs of it. You can reverse the signs because we have to subtract the two terms. This thing would be cancelled out, and what you're left with is a x squared minus 12x squared. And if you want to like take down the other two terms, this one you can, or you, if you want to settle down this thing first, can settle down this one as well. But I'm just going to take down plus bx for a moment, and negative 2 as well. Okay, it doesn't matter which way you follow, it would be like accurate anyway. Now the next thing, uh, try to combine the like terms. In that case, the first row are the like terms. So if I take x squared as common, I'll be left with a minus 12 if x squared is taken common. And would be even simpler if you do it that way. Now, and the other thing is there as it is. If you want to write it down, you can. Okay. Now, what is the first term? Now, this whole thing is your first term. This one. This whole thing is the first one. So how do you get from x to that thing? How do you get from x to this whole thing? Now, all of it, keep in mind, all of it is a single term. Okay, because everything, uh, the two things that I've written is brackets, but x here is being multiplied with it. So we consider that as a single term with the coefficient with the variable x squared. So everything on the inside has a variable x squared. So we consider as a single unit. Now what thing do I multiply x so I can get to this thing? Once again, if you struggle with it, write x squared into a minus 12, the numerator, divided by x in the denominator. Then you try to simplify it, be left with x into a minus 12. After simplification, after applying the laws of indices, you get x into a minus 12. Okay, let's keep it in mind, x into a minus 12. So we write it over here, a minus 12 into x. Okay, now we multiply this whole thing with everything on the outside step by step. So first this thing would be multiplied by x. What do you get? You get x squared a minus 12. Right? You get the same thing. And then you have to multiply this thing with plus 2. Okay? So in that case, what do you get? You get plus 2x into a minus 12. plus 2x into a minus 12. Yeah, this is what you get. And the extra terms, if you want to bring it down, you can. Which is plus bx minus 2. Alright, now you change in the next step, change the signs of it. Let's reverse the signs of it. This whole thing would be cancelled out, and what you're left with is, actually I brought this thing already, so there's no need to write it down once again. So what we left with is bx minus 2 minus 2x into a minus 12. Alright, this is what we have so far. Now what you can try to do is try to arrange the like terms together. So if I try to expand it, I mean it's just the same step. I'm doing nothing but expanding the brackets and try to arrange the like terms. Bx minus 2 minus 2ax plus 24x. Alright, this is what you get if you expand the brackets. Now what are the like terms? Well, this is the only unlike term. You can write it at the end. I'm going to write minus 2 at the end. And the like terms are bx minus 2ax plus 24x. Why are these like terms? Because all of them contain x. Now I'm trying to take x common here from the first three terms. Then in the bracket you'll be left with, from here you'll be left with b. From here you'll be left with negative 2a. From here you'll be left with plus 24, and minus 2 would be there as it is. Right? So this is basically a single step. Okay, we are just rearranging, sorting out the equation, right? Trying to make it simpler. Now this is a simpler thing that you have. Now you go back to the starting thing and you have to look for a polynomial or a number that you multiply x with, so you can get to this thing, this first thing. And in that case it would be this whole thing, b minus 2a plus 24. Once again, if you struggle with it, write this whole thing as a numerator, write this thing from the outside as a denominator. Try to simplify it. What are you left with? You're left with this thing. That would go there in the quotient. And then the next step from there is just the same one, that you have to multiply this new stuff by everything on the outside. So after I multiply this whole bracket with x, I get this thing. And if I multiply this whole bracket by plus 2, I would get plus 2 into the same thing, b minus 2a plus 24. Alright, and then in the next step, I have to subtract it, so you change the signs of it. This is your change the sign from here and change the sign over here as well. Want to draw a line, you can draw a line as well. Now this whole thing would be cancelled out. Two things with the opposite sign, it would all be cancelled out, and you'll be left with 2 negative 2b minus 2a plus 24 minus 2. Okay, this is what you'll be left with. Alright, let's sort it out. I'm going to write this thing on the other side. Let me just select it. Okay, I'll just write it by myself. Negative 2b minus 2a plus 24 minus 2. Okay, so this is what we have at the bottom. We can't do anything further on it because it can't be further divided. And you know the rule, because we can't divide it because the degree or the maximum power of this term in terms of x is less than the maximum power of this term. What I'm trying to say is the exponent of x in that case is 1, but the exponent of x in that case is 0 because x is not even there. But you can write it like this whole thing being multiplied by x raised to the power 0, which would mean 1. So we can't divide it further, so we leave it here. Then we go back to the second property or the second information that we had about the question, that if you divide the polynomial, this polynomial, by x plus 2, the remainder should be minus 24. So that means that should equal to negative 24. Like, this is the important step over here. That equals to negative 24. And where do we get it from? It is already given in the question and description. That the remainder, when polynomial is divided by x plus 2, the remainder should be negative 24. Alright, so let's simplify it a little bit and try to like write an equation in terms of a and b. So what you can do is negative 2 b minus 2a plus 24 equals negative 22, you just shift this minus 2 on the other side. You can write as both the negative signs would be cancelled out, and this 2 would be divided by 22, and you'll be left with b minus 2a plus 24 equals to 11, and b minus 2a equals 11 minus 24. Then you can write b minus 2a equals to minus 13. Minus 13, okay? Or you can like shift the negative sign on the left side. But anyway, your equation that you now have, one of the equation that you have is this one. Alright, you can't do anything with that equation, only to find the value of a and b, because if you have two unknown variables, then you need two linear equations. So we need another equation. Only then we can find the value of a, and only then we can find the value of b. So we need another equation. Now the other equation can be given from the other piece of information that we have. Now go back to the question I've written, the very first line over here. Now the polynomial 6x squared plus 6x cubed plus ax squared plus bx minus 2 has a factor 2x plus 1. Now think about it. 6x cubed plus ax squared plus bx plus bx minus 2. This thing has a factor, and the factor is 2x plus 1. Factor is 2x plus 1. So this polynomial, this is your polynomial p of x or px, and it had the factor 2x plus 1. Now what do we make of it? Now let's try to break it down. If I say I have an expression x squared minus 1, and it has a factor, let's say x plus 1. Matter of fact, it has two factors, x plus 1 and x minus 1. But let's say one of the factor of this polynomial is x plus 1. Now what does that mean? Well, that means this thing, if you like put this thing, the factor equals to 0, alright, and then you get a value, obtain a value of x from there, and if you place the value of x back over here in the polynomial, you will get 0, because minus 1 square minus 1 negative 1 be positive 1, and it would be cancelled out. So if x plus 1 is a factor, and if you obtain a root from there, so this will be a root. From the factor we can find a root after putting it equal to 0. And if we insert the root into the polynomial, if we insert the value of that root into the polynomial, we get 0 as the answer, because a factor can divide a polynomial, a root can solve a polynomial. So that would also mean if I obtain value of x from here after putting it equal to 0, and then I place that value of x over here, that thing should be equal to 0. And when we do it that way, we get another equation, and we use the two equations to find the value of a and b. So what I'm going to do is, if 2x plus 1 equals to 0, that implies x equals to minus 1 over 2. Now, this is the root of that polynomial. This one was a factor. So from the factor, if you put that equal to 0, you get the root of the polynomial. And if you plug that root, or the value of x, back into the polynomial, you should be getting 0 as the answer. So let's insert the value of x. Let's be very careful with the signs. A would be written as it is, negative 1 over 2 squared plus b minus 1 over 2 minus 2 as it is. Okay, let's further simplify it. You'll be getting like minus 6 over 8 plus, now negative sign, and all the outside we have a square, so that doesn't make any difference. Everything would be with the positive sign. A over 4 minus b over 2 minus 2, and that should be equal to 0. Mathematically it should be 0 if x equals to minus 1 over 2 is a root of the polynomial, and that should be equal to 0. So any question that you get, even the latest one, all the questions, you can solve it by the same way. So the thing that is given as a factor, you find the value of x on there after putting it equal to 0, and then you place the same value of x in the polynomial and place that polynomial equal to 0. Let's sort it out further. So it would be like a over 4 minus b over 2 equals, this negative 2 can be shifted on the other side, plus 2 plus 6 over 8 b over 2 8 would be the LCM, and we'll be left with a over 4 minus b over 2 equals 22 over 8. Alright, this is what we'll be left with, and we can further simplify this one. Okay, we'll cancel it out on the table of 4. But I'm going to like multiply each and everything from here with 4. So we can do some cancellation. You use any method of simplification, that doesn't make any difference. So a minus 2b equals 11. So that is the second equation that I have. A minus 2b equals 11. This was the first equation in terms of a and b. and this is the second equation in terms of a and b. This one. This is our second equation in terms of a and b. And we all know once we have the two equations, we can always solve them. I'm writing this one over here, and the first one was b minus 2a equals to minus 13. b minus 2a equals minus 13. You can solve it any way you want. I'll be like using just substitution method. So b equals minus 13 plus 2a. Then you insert the value of b from here into the first equation. Let's call it first equation. No, sorry, this one was second. Insert the value of b into the second equation, a minus 2. And then let us write the value of b, which is 2a minus 13, and that equals 11. Now if we simplify this one, we can find the value of a. So a minus 4a minus 13 equals to 11, and minus 3a equals to 11 plus 13. So, and from here I can write it as sorry, just made a mistake over here. See, forgot to multiply this negative 2 by 13. See, you gotta multiply this negative 2 with everything on the inside, so it would be like plus 26. Alright, doesn't make any difference because we just saw that quick enough. So it would be plus 26. If you shift it on the other side, it would be negative 26. Then you're left with 3a equals minus 15. Then divide by minus 3 on both sides. The value of a you get is 5. Well, that is the value of a. And now let's find the value of b. So you can use any of the equation, the general, the raw equation, or the simplified one. You can use any of the equation, even this one. Now you have the value of a. So I'm going to put value of a in this equation. A equals to 5 in that equation, and then we can find the value of b as well. So b equals negative 13 plus 2 times of 5. b equals minus 13 plus 10, and that gives us b equals to negative 3. So a equals to plus 5, b equals to negative 3 is the answer for this one, because eventually we had to find the value of these two constants which satisfy the two conditions that were given at the start of the question. So this is a way, and once you're doing it, it would hardly take like 6 to 7 minutes, or at maximum of it can take 10 minutes, not more than that. But these are, once again, get a question from this topic pretty much every time, and it can be asked with these 3 variations, and if you're clear with all 3 variations, the chances that you get that question wrong would be slim to none. So that would be it for today's video. I'll be making more videos about the same topic of algebra with another subtopic. See you in the next video. Take good care. Allah Hafiz.